Hello everyone, this is Koji from Celestial Rhythms. Well, I was absent for a while. We were moving, we were extremely busy, so here I am again back, and it's such powerful times we're in this last few days of the year, so to speak, before spring equinox, the beginning of the natural year, through the zodiac with the sun standing vertical above the equator on the 20th of March, next Saturday, very, very early morning here in North America. So this last section of the zodiac is, as you see here, if we blow that up, between 22 degrees 37 minutes and 30 seconds and 28 degrees and 15 minutes of Pisces. Hexagram 36, darkening of the light. So this is really the final kind of retreat of the energy back to Earth in a way. Here the sun has sunk under the Earth, it says here, and is therefore darkened. The name of the hexagram means literally wounding of the bright. So this energy is active between the 12th and the 18th of March. Hence the individual lines contain frequent references to wounding. The situation is the exact opposite of that in the foregoing hexagram, that means the 6 days prior. In the latter, a wise man at the head of affairs has been able helpers. Actually, that is not correct what I'm saying here. This is hexagram 35, which is in a different section of the zodiac. So hexagram 35 actually is also activated. That's where the lunar nodes are in right now, the lunar north node to be exact. Let me just go back, zoom back, then you see what I mean. So that is here in this section. Between 11:22:30 to 17 degrees Gemini is hexagram 35. Now I am pointing this out, you will see in 1 second, is because these two gates make a perfect channel. Perfect because both these gates are activated, and this is the generic structure of the human design which links the 9 chakras, and this is the collective energy we are having right now. So hexagram 36 and 35 are interactive, they work together as a pair. That's why this is particularly a powerful week of creation. This is the energy of, let me see if it brings it up here, transitoriness, or however you pronounce that. It's that nothing is for certain. Everything is in transition. Everything is kind of in a state in between. This is the darkening of the light and the energy which precedes it, and we just go back here to this description here, get back into that. So in the ladder, the hexagram 35, a wise man at the head of affairs has able helpers, and in company with them makes progress. Here in this hexagram 36 is a man of dark nature in a position of authority and brings harm to the wise and the able man. How much more clear could this battle of dark and light be symbolized as in this hexagram? It is literally the substance of that basic design of dark forces being the fuel for evolution. They kick us in the butt, they make us more strong, they make us more intelligent, they make us inquire and start by the challenges to grow. I guess that's really what it is. It's a martial art contest, and this is the moment of truly understanding that this 6-day window we are in right now. So the new moon occurred right at the beginning of this hexagram in line 1. I don't want to read you everything here. You can go here. This is a great site. I will put this link in below the video. That is a great I Ching site, which now has been taken down. So I found it after a search in the web archive. As I say, I'll put the link in. It's based on Richard Wilhelm's translation. He was the first one in the early 19th century to travel to China, and he was a scholar. He spoke German and he spoke Chinese, and he was the first one to translate that 5,000 years old or older wisdom book, the Book of Changes, which, as you see here in the hexagram, this is the symbol of hexagram 36. The lower 3 lines represent fire, Li, and the upper 3 lines represent earth. So it's literally fire under the earth, fire hidden. And it's interesting for those who are not familiar with that yet. These 64 combinations of the 6 lines are exactly the same combinations as we see in the 64 combinations of our DNA. It's that binary code of 6 different pairs, 6 different lines, I should say. So there's an amazing similarity there between the Chinese Book of Wisdom and our human genome. This in itself is quite something. So anyway, just going back to this hexagram, and that is where the new moon has occurred yesterday, the start of that next month, so to say, laid the foundation for these 30 days, and we get back to that new moon. It was a powerful new moon. Just let's first see in which line that was. So when a planet is occupying a line, and this was the sun and the moon in this segment, then this line gets activated. It becomes a 9, which means it's a dynamic line which is changing into a 7, into an 8. That's the sequence. So it gets from a moving yang line into a yin line. And when this change happens in the first line, you see, I show you what I mean here. So this first line was activated by sun and moon. When this changes, then it becomes a yin line. Then below we have here the mountain, and above again the earth. So the mountain is under the earth, which is the symbol of hexagram 15, modesty. So that is the evolution in that sense of that 4-week period of that new moon. And let's read here what this says in the oracle. Darkening of the light during flight. He lowers his wings. The superior man does not eat for 3 days on his wanderings, but he has somewhere to go. The host has occasion to gossip about him. With grandiose resolve, a man endeavors to soar above all obstacles, but thus encounters a hostile fate. He retreats and awaits the issue. That's what we're doing. The time is difficult, yeah, no question. Without rest he must hurry along with no permanent abiding place. If he does not want to make compromise with himself, but insists on remaining true to his principles, he suffers deprivation. Nevertheless, he has a fixed goal to strive for, even though the people with whom he lives do not understand him and speak ill of him. That's the world we're living in, yes. Changing only this line creates hexagram 15. As I said, modesty. This line had high hopes but has suffered a setback. Okay, we can live with that temporarily, and cannot attain his goals yet, I'm adding here. He nonetheless holds them still. He will suffer some embarrassing disrepute, but that is all. Lecke is a scholar on the I Ching. Lecke's interpretation is: he does withdraw, opposition follows him, but it is implied that he holds on to his own good purpose. So at least this line can maintain its inner value. The outcome predicted by hexagram 15, modesty, is a good outcome, as long as the subject of this line, us, remembers it is the law of heaven to make fullness empty and to make full what is modest. Okay, now let's put that in a nutshell. The next 4 weeks are still not bringing the resolve we are hoping for, and we knew that. I mean, if you follow the intel, that is about where we're at. It still will take a few more weeks for the story to build, for things to get more extreme, which is okay, because we know there is a clear line in the sand at some point. This is becoming clearer by the day, and it has to go all to the very last limit of the cliff before things start toppling. Now, this is the basic information of the I Ching. Now let's go into the astrology. So this was the moment when the sun crossed that line into hexagram 36, and I just go here pretty fast through the first few charts to show you the sequence. This in Washington has a cardinal cross, meaning it is really a new beginning which has been initiated with that hexagram Libra rising. So it is an adjustment period, getting things into the correct place. And above all, it's about modesty, because this again is the degree of that hexagram between 28 and roughly 4 degrees Cancer. This is hexagram 15, modesty. So it's all about that, to be patient and wait and know that our time will come. This is the midpoint chart between the sun's ingress into the darkening of the light and the American people. I just again want to point out a few highlights. I don't want to keep too long on each chart because I have quite a few lined up. If you want to go deeper, you just stop the video here and you look at them more in depth at your own pace. So this is where the American nation's Uranus is, at 8:55 to be exact. So we can already expect, and with Uranus having been so prominently placed, I haven't reported it every time, but it's just unbelievable. Uranus in all these charts shows up. It's a Uranian time for sure. It's a time of fast shifts and changes, surprises, shocks, unprecedented events, that Aquarian energy of breaking into a new paradigm, bit by bit, taking down the wall. If you think of Pink Floyd, undoing that structure of deception one bit at a time. Beautiful that 0 degree Virgo moon here in the midpoints, which is all about starting a healing process, recognizing what's wrong, and starting from scratch. That this is kind of that 0 degree energy, which is ready to really go into a new room, do it in a new way. And that's what it feels about. And also the moon here in square to Chiron and Uranus here in the 1st degree of Sag. This again is the midpoint chart. The midpoint is kind of, in this sense, how the American people are relating with what is happening right now as a nation, as a collective. It's that meeting point, that kind of tip of the scale where the hinge is, where we are witnessing things from. Very powerful. Everything in our world is about relating. It is how we learn. Relationship is the art of seeing oneself in the mirror and having that reflection going on, which brings maturity. I guess that's how we work, or you could also say to grind each other's edges off and become more smooth and more. Anyway, relating is everything. So relationship charts are powerful stuff. And this is a very simple method. It's just a time-space midpoint. You see, this is November 1898, the midpoint between 1776, July 4th, and our present time, in this case, March the 13th or so of 2021. So, anyway, let's just go here further. As I say, I want to go pretty fast. That was when the moon entered hexagram 36 a few hours later. Interesting Saturn here at the ascendant, which was kind of initiating that small window the full moon, the new moon would occur. Saturn, in that sense, a sobering. I guess that's the best way of saying it. Saturn in Aquarius right now is a very sobering experience. It is kind of coming to terms with the very dark agendas of AI, which Aquarius stands for 2. That is the double-edged sword, if you want to say. On one side is the positive evolution of that Aquarian energy into unity and being in sync with everything and moving more and more into the spiritual dimensions where physical presence is no more that much required, but on the other side it is also that extreme control and kind of uncompromising. It can be really in the line of The Matrix, the movie, which was, as we know, a documentary. So this is kind of also a time of grief, of that whole window between the 12th and the 18th of March, of coming to terms with all that dark energy which is presently rolled out and which so many people fall victim to, you could say, all these who take the vaccine and not, who are walking time bombs, as we know. So it has been said many souls will leave this planet at this time, and we have to recognize their doing a great service to the rest of us, because they are the ones who finally will wake people up in masses when they realize what has been done to them. It's a very, very wonderful place in evolution we're at, but also a very difficult juncture, particularly for those who still are about to wake up. So this all is reflected in this chart. We had that Venus-Neptune conjunction yesterday, as well as the Ceres Chiron conjunction, and I will cover this in my next video. I want to keep them not too long here, so I'm stopping here, and I will continue with talking of the new moon and this Venus Neptune and the Ceres Chiron conjunction in my follow-up. So thank you again, love you all, and enjoy the ride.